What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got the Elite 8 for our Course Madness bracket for the best 32 courses in DFW, plus some honorable mentions, plus private courses, which got a bye into the Sweet 16. A little weird. It was just what I had to do to make it work. Anyways, we're down to the Elite 8. First up, we have Pterodactyl Ridge at Dino Hills down in Glen Rose against Heritage Park in Flower Mound. Just to recap, if you haven't been keeping up thus far, Pterodactyl Ridge is rated 4.8 on UDisc. Heritage Park is rated 4.5. First off, I will admit, using UDisc ratings as like an anchor for this system makes the system flawed since it's so incredibly subjective, is what it is. I think cream rises to the top still. There wasn't any courses that were rated like 3.8 that everyone goes nuts over. Basically, if it was 4.0 or above, it made it into this bracket. So, very different courses. Heritage Park is 5,500 feet, par 58, 18 holes. The average out there is plus 11 or 69. Pterodactyl Ridge is 8,200 feet, par 61. No smart layouts, just classic layouts, so it doesn't show me what like the community average is out there. But Pterodactyl Ridge starts out with 6 par 4s in a row, and then a top of the world shot, hole 7 off of the deck, which is really awesome, but there's still some crazy par 3s after that. You've got hole 11, 528 feet, hole 15, 522 feet, hole 18, over 500 feet. 18 is a par 4. So there's 7 par 4s, but there's a couple that play hard. And then there's some tricky par 3s sprinkled in there as well. Heritage has hole 7 as a par 4, hole 10 as a par 4, hole 17 and 18, so a good finish there on the par 4s. Hole 7 is a fair par 4. Hole 10 is a little soft for righties. Hole 17, it's not really a par 3. Like a birdie on it, if it was a par 3, would kind of score and feel like an eagle. So it's kind of a tweener, but par 4 is fair. And then 18 is also a soft par 4 coming in at 316 feet, but it's uphill where you got to make it over the shelf, and then it has a low ceiling, so the tee shot is really demanding if you want to get the 2 for an eagle. It feels like an eagle if you get the 2, so fair is fair. Let's look at what everyone else rates the other factors on this course. Upkeep at Pterodactyl Ridge is 4.8, Heritage 4.5. Heritage, I mean, it gets a lot of traffic, so it stays kind of beaten down, but Pterodactyl Ridge has dedicated staff, essentially, staff of 1, but so Pterodactyl Ridge wins on upkeep. Shot variety and design, Pterodactyl Ridge gets a 4.9, Heritage gets 4.4. Design, I mean, Pterodactyl Ridge is just fantastic. It has so much more room, though, than Heritage, so I feel like that's not fair to reward Pterodactyl Ridge just because it's a bigger course. Shot variety, though, I mean, with all the hard par 4s, there's more serious landing zones, and then even on the par 3s, like you're throwing hyzers, you're throwing flex shots, you're throwing flat shots, you're throwing turnover shots. Heritage has everything though too. I feel like your whole game gets challenged more at Pterodactyl Ridge though, and that might just be because of distance. So I would say it's still rated higher, or the higher rating is fair. Tee area is 4.8 at Pterodactyl, 4.5 at Heritage. I don't have any issues with either, and I wouldn't say there's like a huge pro of one over the other, so I would give them a wash there. Signage and wayfinding, 4.8 at Pterodactyl. Heritage, 4.2. Heritage has the classic DD signage. There's little arrows in the baskets, good T signs. There's a nice kiosk at hole 1. No kiosk at hole 1 at Pterodactyl. It does have good T signs, all, you know, sponsored by different people, including this channel, and including Mountain Sports. Signage, though, I mean, without U-Disc, I think Heritage is a little easier to navigate than Pterodactyl Ridge would be. So I'm actually, even though the rating is higher for Pterodactyl, I'm going to give that one to Heritage. So, and then amenities. Heritage has water, has bathrooms. Pterodactyl Ridge has bathrooms, no water. But Pterodactyl has a pro shop plus camping. So it is rated higher at 4.6 versus Heritage's 3.8. I'm going to give another one to Pterodactyl Ridge. Scenery and views. It's no contest. The valley that you play in, you play like kind of on the surrounding parts of that property. There's creek channels, there's ponds down in the middle. Undoubtable winner there. I like Heritage a lot. It was like almost my home course at one point in time. I worked really close to there for about 6 months, so I got a lot of rounds in at Heritage. But I'm going to give it to Pterodactyl Ridge. They'll move on to the final 4. Up next in our Elite 8, we've got Tom McCutcheon Disc Golf Course in Lake Louisville, also known as Old Man, which is how I'm going to refer to it. And Zebos down in Benbrook, the Mighty Z. Similar to the last matchup, we've got kind of a shorter, woodsier course versus kind of a hilly elevation bomber course that has a mix of open and wooded shots. Zebos is rated 4.5, Old Man is rated 4.3. So we got some heavy hitters here. This is getting to the hard part of the bracket. So a bunch of smart layouts at Old Man. It's got 5,600 feet, par 55. Average there is plus 10. Zebos, the short tees are 5,800 feet, so that's actually a pretty fair comparison. Par 57, so more par 4s. And the average is plus 11, so it's scoring a stroke harder. That's also with 19 holes, excuse me, because you have 6 and then you have 6B. The long tees at Zebos are 7,100 feet. I feel like that is based on the current basket position tonight. If the basket positions are in the long, it's actually longer. Like long to long at Zebos is a monster course. Average there is plus 16 with a par 57. At Old Man, you've got the beach holes, which when the weather is less than ideal or in the wintertime, the beach holes are a huge plus to this course. The summertime traffic that those beach holes get makes the beach holes a con for the course. There are some alternate holes that you can play, old tee pads or temp baskets, that you can make this course into an 18 even with the beach holes taken out, which sometimes is necessary in the summertime or holiday weekends. It just gets mobbed and completely overrun. But you got the beach holes, and then you have the tight wooded gauntlet holes, which are really fun. You've got some nice like mixed park style golf with mixed trees, but like open long throws. And then you also have hole 12, which is the lone par 4. Lost a couple trees this year, which opened up some lines, but it's still a good par 4. If you throw a good shot and you make a good putt, you should birdie it every time. If you mess any of those up, it turns into a scramble for par. Zebos, we'll look at the shorts. You've got all par 3s, but if you look at the longs, you also have all par 3s. It's kind of one of those old school Ironman par courses where like it doesn't matter if it's a 500-foot shot, it's par 3. But like long to long, there could be 7 or 8 par 4s at Zebos easily. Old Man has a little bit of elevation change, a little bit of uphill, a little bit of downhill, kind of some like rolling hills. Zebos has some serious elevation, like hole 9 you're throwing over the trees, top of the world shot. There's a couple of different basket positions out there. Some of them you want them to hyzer a lot, some of them you want them to push. You don't want them to flip, but there is a new low in there, which is nice, so you don't always have to deal with that. Or if you're bringing your friends that aren't as skilled at disc golf or don't know the course that well in the landing zones, you walk downhill to the new short tee area that's kind of raised into the woods off of the valley floor a little bit. I haven't actually played that yet, but I've seen it. Upkeep, Old Man. The Upkeep is rated at 4.1. Zebos is 4.4. Upkeep at Old Man gets a lot of support from the local Louisville Disc Golf Club. They have the Adopt a Spot, so they do trash pickups out there quite regularly. Zebos, I know they have a lot of activity at Zebos. They're always doing stuff out there, like trees are, I mean, the course is just so old. Trees are dying. There's some vandalism that occurs, unfortunately, but they're taking care of it and fixing it, building new creek crossings, building new mandos where posts were gone. I don't play Zebos as much as I play Old Man, so it's hard to like say all the extra things. They do have a lot of landscaping stones to like help mitigate drainage over tee pads, keep them from getting muddy. Maybe that'll be the tiebreaker for Zebos if it's all tied up at the end. Upkeep, maybe a slight nod towards Zebos. Shot variety and design, 4.4 for Old Man, 4.7 for Zebos. I mean, you have more uphill and downhill shots at Zebos than you do at Old Man. You have more water shots. You only have one big water shot, I guess, at Old Man. You have a couple that you could find water if you threw a bad shot. Zebos has multiple creek crossing holes, or a hole where you play parallel to the creek. So water holes, you got more at Zebos. You have more elevation at Zebos. I don't know that you have more uphill and more downhill shots, though. Old Man has a couple of each. Tee areas, 4.4 for Old Man, 4.5 for Zebos. I mean, there's definitely more built up around the tee areas at Zebos. There's more built up. There's certain bigger tee pads, probably the biggest tee pads you'll ever see in your life at Old Man. Man, this is tight. Signage and wayfinding, Old Man 4.0, Zebos 3.7. Yeah, I would agree with that Old Man has it there. Amenities, 3.3 Zebos, 3.4 Old Man. I guess Old Man has porta potty, Zebos doesn't. Neither of them have water, neither of them have a pro shop. Both of them you walk back by the parking lot around the middle of the round. Between 7 and 8 is when you walk by the car at Old Man. At Zebos it's between 9 and 10. So that I think goes into the amenities slot. Tie again. Scenery and views. 4.4 for Zebos, 4.6 for Old Man. In spring, I think Zebos can definitely match Old Man's beauty. Old Man is right by the lake though, which is really pretty. I mean, I've probably stopped to take pictures of a course more at Old Man than anywhere else. But in the spring, Zebos buds out really nice. You get the creek flowing, you get the birds chirping. I mean, it's a pretty course, but I would agree with UDisc fans that Old Man is a little prettier, generally speaking. So what we gave signage to Old Man, we gave amenities to Old Man, we gave scenery views to Old Man. Upkeep was a toss-up. Shot variety design was kind of a toss-up, maybe towards Zebos. And then tee areas, I guess like if you're not talking about the actual throwing surface, but like the tee area at large, I would give that to Zebos. Shot variety, I would give, I guess, a slight nod to Zebos. Upkeep though, that is so tricky. I thought that would help. Both are cart friendly. Old Man is certainly more cart friendly. Dogs are allowed at both. Not stroller friendly. No drinking water available. They're both public parks. I'm gonna give it to Zebos. That might be the right answer regardless, but because you don't have to share a large part of the course with other park goers with consistency. I mean, you might find someone having a picnic on a fairway. That can happen at any disc golf course, but when the weather's nice on a holiday weekend, you know that some holes at Old Man are going to be unplayable. Like hole 1 can be tricky. Hole 2 is almost always tricky. Hole 3 is almost always tricky. Hole 4 you can play. 5 and 6 you could play. 7 is sketchy. So I'm gonna let Zebos move on. I like Old Man a lot. I play there a lot. I've definitely played there more than Zebos. I played there 22 times. Zebos, I've only played there 8 times. But I'm gonna give the nod to Zebos, letting them move on into the final 4. Up next in our Elite 8 bracket, We've got the Roadrunner course at the Hideaway, recently featured on the Go Throw Tour, 4.8 on UDisc, and it is at the Hideaway Ranch. So they've got a restaurant out there, they've got a second course out there. We'll get into that. Up against Granbury City Park, 4.3 on UDisc. Granbury City Park only has 1,000 ratings. Hideaway has 1,300, which is wild because the Hideaway has only been around since 2021. Granbury City Park, 2011. I cannot believe that course has been around for so long, and I just found it in the last year or so. 22 holes at Granbury City Park. Par 66, 7,800 feet. The community average out there is shooting 9 big. Hideaway, we'll compare the longs at Roadrunner, because Granbury has some really long tee positions. So Roadrunner longs, 8,800 feet. So another 1,000 feet, par 66, same par, but the average is 18 big. So another 9 strokes on average out there is played per round by folks. Granbury City Park, 2-hour round on average, 2.5-hour round usually at the Hideaway. Hideaway has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 par 4s. Granbury City Park per UDisc has 0 par 4s, but that is just silly. There's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's at least 6 par 4s. Some of those high 300-ish foot holes, I can't remember what the trees and barriers and lines look like, so those could be too soft to be a par 4. We'll look at the reviews. So at the Hideaway, upkeep 4.8. Granbury City Park also 4.8. Granbury City Park is probably the most upkept public course that I have ever seen. You pay nothing to be there, and it's always mowed, it's always pruned, it's always looking good. Hideaway is private, so they should upkeep it. They have more dedicated time and resources. Tee pads are always good. I mean, it does get muddy, but that doesn't really go into upkeep. Tee pads are textured nice, really rough, which helps with that sticky mud that they have out there. I would say it's a tie. Shot variety and design, 4.8 for the Hideaway. 4.2 for Granbury City Park. I would give that to Hideaway for sure. I mean, Granbury City Park is a park style course. It's largely flat. I mean, it has some mild elevation change, some interesting sloped greens near water or OB, but pretty flat. So is Hideaway. The Hideaway has pretty heavily wooded holes. Granbury City Park has no wooded holes. There's some well-placed trees near a tee pad or near a basket that make you shape some lines, but it's mostly open. I would definitely give it to Hideaway, Roadrunner. Tee areas, 4.7 for Hideaway, 4.5 for Granbury City Park. I can't think of any pros or cons between the two. I'll say that's a tie. Signage and wayfinding, Hideaway 4.7, Granbury City Park 3.4. Yeah, I've definitely relied on UDisc a bit there, so that's another one towards Hideaway. Amenities 3.4 at Granbury, 4.8 at Hideaway. Yep, huge pro of being a private course with a pro shop. Their pro shop happens to be a restaurant, so between rounds out there, because you're probably going to play both courses, or you're going to play whichever course you like better twice. You can go to the bathroom, you can warm up or dry off or cool off, whatever the weather's doing. You can get some grub, you can buy some plastic, they've got a bathroom. So huge plus for Roadrunner. Scenery and views, 4.7 for Roadrunner, 4.3 for Granbury City Park. I'm actually going to give this one towards Granbury City Park. I mean, it feels like you're on like a savanna of like a picturesque zoo. Just the way there's like pruned trees and cactus and rocks and streams and ponds. It's gorgeous. I bet even in the dead of winter it's gorgeous. I think I've only played there in the spring when it's like just popping off. Hideaway, I mean, it's Texas woods. It has its own sort of natural beauty, I suppose, but I mean, around the property is farmland, so on some of the high points when you're looking out like across the property you're on onto the neighboring properties. I mean, it's like flat farmland out there. This is just an uncut wooded part. Man, I'm gonna give it to Granbury. So Granbury gets scenery and views. Hideaway, Roadrunner gets amenities. Signage and wayfinding, Roadrunner. T areas, tie. Shop variety, design, Roadrunner. Upkeep, tie. So at best, it's a tie if I gave those 2 ties to Granbury City Park. So we're gonna let Roadrunner move on. I mean, most of you probably have never even played Granbury City Park, so you're like, what is this course and why are we talking about it? Versus Hideaway. It's a great course, but we're gonna let the Roadrunner move on into our final 4. We've got the final matchup of our Elite 8. Before we get into it, I just wanted to quickly plug the channel now has Apex Swirl and regular Apex, but Apex Swirl grackles. That's what's over my shoulder. We've got some nasty swirls like this blue one here, this kind of peachish one here, these ones here. We got the money foil. Anyways, if you're interested in buying one of these, hit me up. I can meet up locally or I can ship it in a box. Our final matchup of the Elite 8 is Bill Allen in the Colony, rated 4.3, versus Veterans Park in Arlington, rated 4.5. Veterans has 4,800 reviews or ratings. Bill Allen has 4,000 ratings, so Bets gets a little more traffic, it looks like. Bunch of smart layouts at Bill Allen. The main layout, 18 holes, 5,700 feet, par 58. The average out there is a +7. Veterans, their main layout is par 54, kind of Ironman golf. Currently it is 6,000 feet. The average out there is +11. So Veterans shooting a little bit harder than Bill Allen, and it's 300 feet longer. About an hour and 45 minute round at Veterans normally. Bill Allen playing a little quicker at an hour and a half. And you're going up and down roughly 1 floor, so relatively flat at Bill Allen. Veterans, a little more hilly, especially earlier in the round, going up and down 5 flights of stairs. The ratings here, well, let's see, the hole length first. Bill Allen, 621 feet on hole 5. You got a par 4 there. Hole 11, fairly long, you got a par 4 there. And then hole 15 and 17. 15 and 17 are both kind of soft if you hit the gap. Otherwise, you can get into trouble. Vets has no par 4s. Sometimes hole 1 could be a par 4. Sometimes hole 3 can be a par 4. Sometimes hole 12 can be a par 4 for AMs, the pros. It's just a hard par 3. And that's it from the main. I mean, if you play the gold tees, it gets wild, which it's nice that they have the room to back up some of those holes and make them much, much longer. But the individual attribute ratings, let's get into those. At Bill Allen, the upkeep is a 4.2. Veterans, it is a 4.4. I've never seen Bill Allen in bad shape. I've never seen Veterans in bad shape either. So we'll give it a tie. Shot variety and design, 4.6 at Veterans, 4.4 at Bill Allen. Vets has a lot of blind hyzer shots. Bill Allen has a lot of straight shots. It does have a fair amount of blind holes though. It does have the pond, which Veterans doesn't have. Veterans also does not have a water hole. Not give that to either one over the other. Tee areas, Bill Allen 4.4, same with Veterans. Veterans can get really muddy. So can Bill Allen though in some of those holes. I mean, they both have concrete pads, nothing crazy as far as like landscaping goes to protect them. That's not true actually. Veterans has quite a few where they built up like little walls around the basket or around the tee area, excuse me, to divert water for drainage to help protect the tee pads from washing out. So I'd maybe give that one to Veterans just slightly. Signage and wayfinding, 4.1 for Bill Allen, 3.6 for Vets. Yeah, Vets, I mean, there are some signs on some trees to like help you know where to go, but that course has been in the ground for so long. Some of the walk-offs like are misleading, or there's game paths that are misleading. I definitely used to get lost out there back in the day before I really knew the course and was playing a bunch, and definitely before UDisc existed. So we'll give that one to Bill Allen. Amenities, 3.4 for veterans. 3.4 for Bill Allen. Man, they are not making this easy on us. They both have a place to get water and bathrooms, not really near the course though. They're both mixed use, cart friendly courses. They both have shorts with dirt tees. I don't know if there's a pro shop near Bill Allen. I know Veterans has 2 shops relatively close. Shout out Mountain Sports. It's a tie again. Scenery and views. Bill Allen 3.9, Veterans 4.4. Yeah, Veterans has a weird beauty to it. I mean, hole 5, their top of the world shot, looking out towards Fort Worth, is so pretty in the spring. Even in the fall, it's kind of pretty. Expansive mowed grassed fairways on holes 1, 3, 11, 12, 13, 14, 17, 18. It's got quite a few uphill and downhill shots. So does Bill Allen though. I mean, it's got the creek twice. It's got the pond. It's got the scrubby trees in the woods, which so does Veterans. Man, I wish I had, well, let's see here. Bill Allen, what other layouts does Bill Allen have? They've got the main, they've got a shorter, easier layout. They've got a longer, harder layout. That's 6,200 feet versus 5,700. So that adds 500 feet. The longer layout at Veterans makes it go from 6,000 feet up to 7,600 feet. So it adds 1,600 feet. The shorts at Bill Allen drop it down to 4,700 feet. So you lose 1,000 feet. And the average gains a stroke. That's the shorts. You lose 2,000 feet and the average people gain 9 strokes. So quite a bit easier on the shorts, which I like. I mean, Veterans is a popular course, and so a lot of people go there who maybe shouldn't go there because it is so hard. So I like that there's like shorts, so people of all skill levels can have fun out there. Y'all are gonna be super surprised, but I'm gonna give it to Veterans. And I will admit, I've only played Bill Allen 3 times, and I've played Veterans over 200 times. And it's my home course, and the VPO happens there, and I've filmed the VPO the last 2 times, but I think Veterans history might help it here, its legacy, because I mean, all the big names that you know, Simon, Eagle, Double G, Barsby, GT Hancock, Paul McBeth, Ken Climo, Avery Jenkins, Eric McCabe, all these big names and plenty of historical names I'm forgetting that have played and won that tournament in that course. And that is just rad to, I mean, the course has changed, so it's not exactly the same, but it's cool to like play at a tournament that like maybe your favorite player has played at and won. So I'm gonna give it to Vets. They're gonna move on to the final 4 of this Course Madness bracket. If you've watched this far, you're amazing. Super fan, watching me talk for hours and hours about our DFW courses. Again, I'm gonna plug Disc Locker discs. I've got Grackles, I've got bullets in premium plastic and putter plastic. I've got Glow Free Tails and many more. Just kidding. That's all I have with the Disc Locker. I've got plenty of other discs that I'm probably gonna start trying to sell soon, but thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the final 4 video, and then one more video after that for the final 2. Again, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. And as always, we'll see you out there.